a lot of us have a very direct Georgian Bay connection. And what is Georgian Bay? Well, some people call it the sixth Great Lake.
And I have to say that I never thought I'd actually live to see the impacts of climate change.
I had this realization that as an ecologist, the small stuff could be worse because now it has this opportunity to contaminate every level of the food chain, and the reality is that it has. And so microplastics, as we know today, are a global contaminant the way PCBs and pesticides and other industrial chemicals like flame retardants are a global pollutant.
Frag impairs the functioning of our valuable coastal wetlands that we've heard so much about today, threatens plant biodiversity, reduces habitat for our animals like turtles, who are often found dead in them, and interferes with the enjoyment of shorelines and recreational activities.
Basically, at 1.5 degrees increase in global temperatures, we are facing massive climate disruption. So this is disruption to ecosystems, to our way of life, and it gets worse at 2 degrees. So you have to remember that right now we have reached 1 degree. So we're just at 0.5 degree away from ultimate catastrophe. We play a very, very important role in reducing the carbon pollution that is contributing to climate change.
And that while there are big pieces of plastic floating about in the lakes and in the oceans, when you truly look down in the middle of the garbage patch on a calm day, it looks like the picture in the bottom right-hand corner, in that most of the stuff floating by the boat when you're in the middle of the garbage patch is tiny little bits of microplastics. I became a scientist because I recognize the value in using scientific information to inform decision making, right? So that decisions are made based on facts. So we spend a lot of time working on the sources of plastic into the ocean, including microfibers, and also into the lakes. Amazing to get to work with Georgian Bay Forever to try out a pilot in an actual place with actual people's houses, not a lab washing machine, where you put these things on washing machines within a community within Perry Sound and say, can we see a reduction in the wastewater treatment plant when we put these on 100 to 200?
There's a lot of efforts being made to remove Phragmites by a lot of very dedicated organizations and volunteers.
This program works, but it really needs your help. Each plant stand can take up to 2 to 5 years of annual cuts, depending on the size. It can't be done without community leaders and community volunteers like yourselves. This year, 290 volunteers put in 849 hours of frag work. They were supported by grants and donations that enabled GBF to hire up to 9 student ambassadors to go out to communities and help to cut more frag and to educate more people. And ultimately, that led to over 55,000 kilograms of frag being removed from Georgian Bay this year.
we have to figure out what management practices are best, right? There are potential negative impacts of freshwater aquaculture. There are potential positive impacts of freshwater aquaculture. And what we want to do is manage the industry in such a way as to maximize the positives and minimize the negatives. And I think that's probably what will form the foundation of the discussion today, is how do we do that? How do we approach this problem?